Hello, this is Patrick. Today I decided to do a really easy subject that's not controversial, and just a couple comments on abortion from outside. Try to look at it in a compassionate way because it's about so many different issues. But abortion is basically a tool of the religion known as secularism. I think that's a good way to see it. It is because a religion is based on a lot of assumptions, and secularism is just another religion. And we know that of all the religions, secularism is the lowest frequency. It's kind of ironic. They're all kind of low, but secularism wins that prize. And whenever an avatar shows up, as soon as he's dead, uh, his followers and man rewrite what he said. And they rewrite it in such a way that it's not true anymore. So that's why the founder of a religion is typically very high frequency, but the religion itself is much, much lower. And that's because in time, uh, the religion changes to issues of power, and they use religion as a tool of power. But spiritual beliefs are something that's ultimately going to set you free, and you need to encompass it in your life, and that's the part of discernment. All right. And anyway, I have a really neat. Where is it? This one. I got all these. So here's. This is called celestial. This is an incense, and it's pretty good. I have it burning right now, and it's very high. It's like a 9 on my scale for incenses. And then the other one that did well is fortune, and I got these on the internet. So these two are high. And then I have lots of other ones, romance and blessings, and they're like 6s. So isn't that interesting? So, and I assume it could be for me, too. So you have to douse what incense works for you, and that'll be very helpful for your dowsing sessions or whatever before you go to bed at night and things like that to clean up your auric field, which is important. All right, on abortion, I just wanted to douse it because let's just take it from an issue of what's going on here, that sort of way. And it's obviously not a sign of a high culture, as well as it's obviously being used to politically to keep the poor, the size of the poor communities from increasing. I mean, it's a population control device. But the darker side of it, for secularism, for the leadership in this country, they use it as human sacrifice. That's what it basically is. And they do all sorts of things. And I think they had those videos. You can see them using it for money, selling the body parts of these fetuses for money. You can't make this up. They have no moral compunction. And so those videos have been out for over a year, let's say. Or has it been 6 months? 6 months. And they're still doing them. Nothing's really changed. The federal government. And I just wanted to look here and say, okay, let's discern quickly what's happening. And it's something interesting. So my higher conscious has divided up the scale into 3 groups. Okay, basically 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 of abortions. The soul comes in at what point? Well, it's different for the 3 groups. So for a third, it comes in at 2 months. For a third, and the next third, it comes in at 4 months. So the soul comes in at 4 months of pregnancy into the fetus. And then a third, it comes in at 8 months. So the average is roughly 5 months is that average. But it's interesting, each one. And then I go, okay, what is the frequency of the abortion issue? It's 0, basically. It's less than 1. Let me just double check that. As a spiritual because they're using logic on you to justify it. And we can't see everything. This is not judgment on people who get abortions. I think truly they don't have any other answers. They don't have any other ways in their mind, and that's why it's so emotional. And our society is really not set up to deal with pregnancies in in a in a productive, high way that's involved here. So, what was I going to say? I forgot. Oh, the whole issue of abortion is okay. It's truly, I didn't get any light indication at all. Not even a half a star. You know, on my scale, it's a zero. And isn't it interesting? The only person so far that I have as a zero, where there's no soul, and I believe Hitler's 1933, after he won the election, sometime in that year, he became a zero. All right, so he became totally possessed. But he had the soul known as Hitler was there a little bit before then, and he actually gravitates down as he goes along, and he was part of a group called the Thule Group, who channeled really gross stuff. I mean, so he was into the occult, and he got to the point where uh, demonic beings did take over in 1933. I mean, that's essentially what happened. It wasn't a man attacking humanity; it was a demonic being, and that's believable. So on abortion, abortions are zero, no matter how you look at it. What group? One, two, three, and I've known many who have abortions are fine women. I notice, our culture is just convoluted, and the real answer is going to be how to change our culture in such a way to honor pregnancies and birth. I mean, we have to push it up to higher up the ladder, and then this issue will take care of itself. But it's being sold. It's being sold to uh, women as like it's nothing, and then they regret it. So all the women I know who had abortions, and I seem to attract a lot of them. I don't know why. As when they get older, I say they regret it, even though they say they don't regret it. They're adamant. I know some that are just adamant, but they're really sad, you know. And I know one woman who had a few abortions, and she didn't have any kids, and she had a ton of money, and she was very, very sad. And it's obvious where it came from, but that's not the point. The solution to abortion is that the culture is going to gravitate higher and higher, and it's going to just take care of itself. I don't think you're ever going to. It's an economic issue for a lot of these people. You know, another mouth to feed and things of that sort. And but what's being sold now from the secular religion, as it's being presented and carried out, it's a zero. It's totally satanic, luciferic. That is what it is right now, and that many. I think I said okay for the third group. How many third group, which is 30%? How many of these are being used for human sacrifice? Okay, it's about 25%. You understand? So in the third group, uh, that's how dark it is. That's one of the real purposes of Planned Parenthood. They want these for human sacrifice. The whole practice is a human sacrifice. That's how dark it is. And then in this particular group, they have an intact baby that's crying, and they use it for sacrificial ceremonies. I'm going to take this video down after a couple of days because it's way, way controversial, but it's actually the truth. All right, and and I don't know if we're going to solve this with the law, but that could be one way to go. I mean, if they go that way, fine, but I think you have to address other issues in our culture, that we return to a place where we respect life and honor life, and that we do take care of all our citizens. And then, you know, we have to do that. The culture has to change. Anyway, uh, that's just one way to approach it. I know everybody has really strong feelings about the issue, but we need to step back and look at it, and kind of take the full spectrum in what's being sold to uh, young women in particular, and it's being an economic issue. It's being sold, and it's also being sold like it's your right as a woman to have this, and usually that's not the case in most cultures. It's usually what's good for the community, what's good for the clan, what's good for the tribe, what's good for the nation, and we have all those issues into play. But when you do douse it, it's just a flat zero. I don't get any understanding here towards it. It's from the spirit realm. The universal truth is it's just like totally Luciferic, and it's being sold to us, and our logical mind is getting in the way. And I also think it has to be addressed from a really compassionate point of view to address it, and to come to terms with it, and to come to and get away from these political hot button words. It doesn't solve anything. So we're not solving it. And I think that the whole purpose is to divide the country. All right? It is to divide the country as a political issue and a social cultural issue. And it's a very hot button. And we're not gonna be able to do much until we address the whole secular approach to life. And remember, the I always go back to the Bolsheviks, because uh, that was the first really secular uh, government in the world. And through their communist system, the way they approached everything, there was no spirit, and they destroyed the Russian Orthodox Church pretty much. And the church came back after the Soviet Union collapsed. But they killed. You just can't believe how many people they killed in the name of, you know, this scientific man dream they had. And you know, the dark forces are here on this planet, and they're actively, and this is all faiths, and you can feel it. And this is just one example. I guess I could talk way long on this. It's not a simple issue, but it's definitely evil. You don't have to be anything. I don't know of any religion, Buddhism, Hinduism. If I'm wrong, go ahead and count that out. But they all frown on abortion, because all their sensitive beings in those cultures they all get what I just told you. It's a big fat zero. There's no way to describe it. Even before the soul arrives in the fetus, even before that, even in the first group, where or even in the third group, where the soul doesn't even arrive in it. You know, so let's say you have an abortion in your second or third month, and there's no soul. It's still a zero. And let's just double check that, because that's kind of profound. You know, that's kind of profound. Could you rate that, please? What I just said. At yeah, it's a zero. It's zero. There's no way to get around it. So I think the culture needs to rethink it and come at it a different way, a compassionate way. And if you put that box into place, you can address other issues as well. And thank you. I know we're just chasing our tail on this issue. I just wanted to kind of tap on this, and I don't want to pursue it much more, but I think it's interesting. That is from the spirit realm, from the very highest light. From the very highest light, this is how it's looked upon. It's looked upon as a dark tool of darkness. It's something Hitler would come up with. You understand? Mao Zedong would support this. These people that are like possessed 100% would use this tool. So, and that says a lot. And I think people need to step back and really think it. And on the personal, like, it's like, well, there's no judgment. We're just reporting as an observer. All right. Okay. Thank you. Bye bye.